The other day I was talking with a friend of mine named Gideon, and he was discussing the fact that the Ptex format in 3D-Coat is kind of a storage format, if you will, and I say that in quotation marks when I use the word storage, because you can have this immensely high detailed texture map on your mesh, and in some cases you might want to actually use the Ptex format if you have a Ptex compliant render engine such as RenderMan, or you could, as in the previous video I did for Ptex, just export those texture maps out using the Ptex generated UV maps. But sometimes you may want to actually use an existing UV map, so that way you paint in Photoshop, which is huge. You have to be able to do that sometimes, and that's what we're going to do, or at least show in this video. We're going to bake these details, or I'm going to show you how to bake these details onto an existing map. And you'll be able to decide what resolution you want that map. And it's rather simple actually. So let's go ahead and go up to Textures, Texture Baking Tool. I've already selected my settings here, but I'm going to run through them very quickly here. You could use the current low poly mesh if you wanted to, and that's an option. But I'm going to click in here in the file requester, and I'm going to target my retopo target. Yes, that's fine. Okay, I'm going to smooth it out because I do want these details to be smooth. I don't want a jagged object. I want it to look nice and smooth. Smooth that out of the way. We won't be doing anything with the UV map. We want it to stay exactly how it is. And I want to be able to capture most of these details. You can see I've got some little bumps in here, which you might not be able to notice right from the get-go there, but if we zoom in, you can see these little bumps right around the eye. We got some smaller bumps on the top of the head here that I painted with Ptex. I increased the resolution in these areas, and you wouldn't be able to capture those details unless you had a larger size texture map. So we're going to go with 4K. Now if you needed to take these details, or I'm sorry, if you didn't and you were creating a lower res game object, then scale your texture map accordingly down to whatever it is you need. And that's why we call it, my friend Gideon and I, we call it the storage format, because we can still have this immensely high texture map and we can scale it down as needed, which is great. So if we need to have that really high res, we can bake it out as an 8K map if we need that really small map, we can do that too. We can go with 512. But anyway, for the purpose of this demonstration, I'm going to go with 4K because I do want to capture most of these details. That's fine. We'll leave the default in and out scan depth at 12. And then I've already gone ahead and saved out all these texture maps already, so we won't have to sit and wait. So I just named them accordingly: color, spec, end map, and I also did a displacement map. Since I'm using Lightwave, I saved it out as 0 level as gray. Okay, and I already hit OK and all that, so I'm just going to hit cancel now, and we'll go ahead and pop over to Photoshop real quick. And I've already got the image open. You can see, look, the details on an existing UV map, not the Ptex generated UV map, which is fantastic. So looking good. Let's bounce over to Lightwave. Okay, we're gonna load that object up. Maybe I should have loaded it up already, but whatever, no big deal. Alright, so we'll just open up that retopo target OBJ. Sure enough, yeah, that's fine. We'll hit tab to go into sub D mode, and then we shall apply the maps here. So let's apply the normal map. We'll load an image. Yeah, I saved all of them into this folder here. Okay, there's our end map. And I actually think that needs to be flipped. Let's take a look in Photoshop real quick. Nope, that looks just fine. So we'll change that from planar to UV map, select our UV map, and well, that's that right there. And we'll connect up the node over to the normal input. And now we'll go ahead and select our color map. Okay, we'll load up the color map image. And the UV map is already selected. That looks good. Okay, now we'll do the same for specularity. Change that to UV. select the UV map and then load up the spec map itself. Okie dokie, all done there. And we'll turn on smoothing, because when we send this on over to layout, it won't smooth that out unless we turn that on, but of course we can turn it on over there. We'll hit S. Yes, okay, we need to save it under a different name. We'll just call this creature target LWO. That'll work. Okay, and let's click on this little down over here and send object to layout. And here are layout. So you can see the maps are still applied. All we have to do now over here is apply the displacement map, which we don't necessarily have to do, but it's perhaps a good idea. But let's go ahead and adjust the camera first. Okay, we'll move it over, rotate it, get it in place. Somewhere right in there should work. Okay, let's hit Shift O, go to Object Mode, P for Properties, go to the Deform tab, hit T for the displacement, and let's change this also to the appropriate UV map here, and the load up the displacement map. There we go. Okay, and we'll change this to before world displacement. Okay. So now if we do an F9, we should be good to go, and it should render. Sure enough, looks like it rendered just fine. So there you have it. That's how you bake all your texture maps, normal map, displacement map, and so on, with Ptex, with all the Ptex painting tools, to an existing mesh with an existing UV map. So let me hit F9 again, and you can see those details in there. We retained almost all those details, and now we have it on an existing map, our UV map, which is great.